Good morning and welcome to a Friday, February 23rd. How you doing? 10:30 in the morning here in western Iowa. And when I was a weatherman back in the day, we had consultants who helped us with our makeup for one thing and our clothes, but they also talked about when you're doing the forecast, the listener, the watcher, the viewer is always looking forward to the weekend. Well, the weekend's pretty much here. But when you do the forecast, whether it's Monday, Wednesday, whatever the day is, you always want to include the upcoming weekend. So I have your weekend forecast for you. Let's get into it. First, we'll start with today and the watches and warnings across the country, and not a lot going on, honestly. A little bit of wind in Florida, Jacksonville included in that, some wind in Montana, including a high wind watch and a high wind warning there. So pretty gusty for the the panhandle, I should say, of Idaho. That is the northern part of the state. We have winter storm watch. Also, winter storm watches up for the Cascades of Oregon and Washington. A little bit of wind down in Southern California. What is that? Pretty close to Santa Barbara area. And a little bit of river flooding still ongoing. Looks like South Carolina, Georgia, and Arkansas. But otherwise, not a lot going on. Oh, wait, is that a little dense fog there in New York near Buffalo? Looks like it. All right. Here's what's happening across the country today. This is our surface map. And we have the next two, which would be for the weekend. And we do have some showers and thunderstorms for all the way from southern Virginia all the way into Florida, out ahead of a cold front there. Behind that, mixture of rain and snow from parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio Valley, up into Wisconsin. And north of that, some cold air sneaking into Wisconsin, UP of Michigan, parts of Minnesota, Duluth looking for some snow today. Also Sault Ste. Marie off of Lake Superior, maybe even Marquette. A little bit of snow in the Rockies for Colorado, Wyoming, near Yellowstone and Wyoming and Montana, Idaho, and a mixture up in the Pacific Northwest. Now for tomorrow, you see that cold air sinking further south into the Ohio Valley, West Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee. Mixture of rain and snow, Kentucky, you too. And then towards the coast, that's rain, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Up in the Pacific Northwest, still looking at a mix of rain and snow with rain in the Washington coast. And then this weekend, things get really interesting in the Pacific Northwest. We'll save that for last. We are looking at, mixture of rain and snow for mostly the Great Lakes area into Vermont, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania. And then Colorado, a small area there of a mix, more snow for Yellowstone. And then the Pacific Northwest, heavy snow possible for the Cascades. Well, no wonder we have a winter storm warning. Heavy snow possible for the mountains of northwest Montana into Idaho. And then, a mixture of rain and snow all the way to the coast for Oregon, Washington, Northern California. So we'll show you that possible snowstorm for the Pacific Northwest coming up late in the weekend. As we go to our GFS model, and as I close the GFS model, and opening it back up, starting at noon today, Central Time, showers along the mid-Atlantic down to the southeast coast and into Florida, and maybe a few thunderstorms in here as well. Otherwise, kind of quiet. You see this cold air, though, the low moving to the east in Canada, and behind that, cold air spilling into the northern Great Lakes that we were talking about earlier. Now, as we go through the day today, there's your light snow moving into northern Indiana, and a little bit for West Virginia, but pretty quiet, but cold air sinking pretty far south into the southeast. So, winter maybe not quite done yet, and we'll show you why here in a little bit. Some snow showers for West Virginia into Kentucky, parts of Tennessee, mixed with rain. This is noon tomorrow. So as we get into Saturday, pretty quiet, a little bit of light rain and snow. Now moving into Washington, getting heavier as far as the snow goes for the Cascades of Washington. And then the main system starts to sink south, and this is a cold system, and moving into the Pacific Northwest, starting out as rain But you can see the front right here. I mean, some rain showers along that front, heavy snow for the Cascades, and falling snow levels for Washington. And then moving into Oregon as we move into Sunday. And this is actually Monday morning. So Sunday into Monday is where we're seeing snow showers for the low elevations of even western Washington. Some snow getting into the Portland area, heavy snow in the Cascades, a little bit of rain or rain mixed with snow for the Willamette Valley. This is early Monday morning. And as we get into the day Monday, you can see widespread snow showers even at the low elevations for Washington. Snow levels lowering for Oregon, northwest Oregon. Could be a mixture of rain and snow for the coast, or maybe turning to snow. Same for the Willamette Valley, snow levels getting low, maybe down to the deck. Now, I used to live in the Willamette Valley, and I think our house was at 50 feet above sea level. So you get to some of the hills and you start getting to 500,000 feet, a little higher. And then, of course, the Cascades, you go, on up. But, when you get in this kind of situation, when they start talking about, snow levels at 500 feet, it's like you could be driving on 205 and you could look to your right and it's raining on you on the freeway, and you can look right up there. You see trees covered with snow. It's pretty fun. So it looks like it's going to be one of those deals Sunday into Monday for Oregon and Washington. And then you get further inland and it is all snow for Idaho and Montana, and starting to move into the Colorado Rockies. And that system, and they're talking about this on the local news like crazy, because this cold front that's coming, and you can see it marked out here very well, we're going to have temperatures near 70 for Omaha. And when the front moves through, we're going to have temperatures dropping into the 20s with a chance of snow on Wednesday. So let's just watch that play out. And they're talking the same kind of weather for Des Moines. So the snow stretching behind the front all the way from Canada through Minnesota into South Dakota, parts of Nebraska, heavy snow into the Colorado Rockies. This is Tuesday morning. And as we go through the day Tuesday, everything progresses as cold fronts do. And you can just see these lines of equal pressure are close together. So windy with the front, ahead of the front, it's a warm wind. Behind the front, it's a cold wind. So warming up ahead of the front, because you'll get compressional heating as a front approaches. And so temperatures tend to rise. And really, the stronger the front is, the more they'll rise, typically speaking. So we'll see a big temperature rise, even though it's already warm. And then we'll see a big temperature fall behind the front, and this narrow band of snow moving through Minnesota, into Wisconsin, into Iowa now, and into central Nebraska. And this is late Tuesday night. And then Wednesday morning, or not quite midnight, so this is still late Tuesday night. And I live right in here. So if this comes exactly true, I mean, we're still a few days away, Wednesday of next week, we could be looking at some snow. After we've been temperatures in the 60s, today in the 50s, this weekend in the 60s, 70s early next week ahead of the front, like we were just talking about. And then a high, barely above freezing or around freezing on Wednesday with a chance of snow. We'll see how it plays out. Now, this cold front's going to have a different effect as it moves into the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and we'll watch that here in a second. But first, just highlighting the snow for Michigan into Wisconsin. This is Wednesday morning. Another system for the Pacific Northwest, higher snow levels, not high snow levels, but higher, with rain at the lowest elevations and snow for the Cascades. But as this front moves out of the plains and into the Midwest and into the Southeast, it's going to be met with increasing dew points from the Gulf, and we're going to see a chance for severe weather busting out from, say, Ohio into Kentucky, parts of Tennessee, maybe as far south as Mississippi, Alabama, as this front plows into some warm, moist air, and we'll get a line of what could be severe thunderstorms, certainly some storms. And then back to the Pacific Northwest as we get into Thursday of next week. This looks like a pretty strong storm with some heavy rain and heavy snow for the Cascades. And yes, we'll start to see more of that activity in time for California, the storm behind that one. Meanwhile, a week from today, we'll see some showers and storms busting out from the Texas Gulf Coast into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, even Arkansas with some rain. But I just wanted to move far enough into the future to show snow levels lowering again for Oregon and Washington. And then this storm will be moving into California as we get into not this weekend, but next weekend. So that's kind of far off into the future, but something to keep in mind. And of course, we'll keep you posted as we get closer. Now, the severe weather threat. This is for Tuesday. And again, as that cold front starts to move into that warm, moist air, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms perhaps lining up, some of them severe Tuesday into Wednesday. Here's that area. And this is going to change as the forecast changes. But this is just something to keep in the back of your mind for now. Of course, we'll nail it down for you as we get closer. And then Wednesday, that area shifts further to the south and to the east. So some spring-like thunderstorms, severe weather coming mid next week with that cold front. All right, here's your trend for the rest of the month and into March. Still going with above average temperatures for much of the country. Below average temperatures would be for the West Coast. And precipitation-wise, West Coast with the bulk of the precipitation, rain and snow, as we've seen. And then further to the east with that line of storms. And even those showers along the Texas Gulf Coast into the southeast, above average precipitation. Looks relatively dry for the Four Corners and through the Central Plains. But a little bit of excitement coming with that strong cold front as we get into next week. Otherwise, looks like a pretty nice weekend. Just watch out for some of that low elevation snow for you Sunday into Monday for the Pacific Northwest. That's how it's looking from here on a Friday morning. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon on the Weather Mic.